Okay, so this is Alex703 Rockstar back to do some weekly wrestling talk. Once again, reviewing ROH on HDNet. This is the Monday, November 16th edition. And I'm going to get right to this review because these tend to go long. So, at the beginning of the show, they open by saying Bryan Danielson's going to be leaving after this show. Of course, he already left, but this show was taped before that. And Mike Hogwood kind of says, "Oh, he's so great." Whatever. Who cares? Then we had the theme song, Chris Hero versus Delirious. Now, Sanjay Dutt attacked Delirious before the match started. And this was pretty much actually a good way of booking it so that Chris Hero could dominate, because they're making Hero look really good with these rolling forearms and elbows. Predictably, Delirious eventually came back, and he almost won, but Hero knocked him out with a sick elbow to the back of the head. Decent match, 2 1/4 stars here. 2 3/4 stars, my bad. There was definitely some good stuff, but for a match that was about 8 minutes long, about 6 minutes of it were spent with Hero beating Delirious up. So hopefully this leads to Sanjay Dutt and Hero versus Delirious and Eddie Kingston tag team match at some point. That would be a lot of fun. And they didn't really follow up at all with the Kingston storyline from last week. So I thought that was a little weird. I think he at least should have cut a promo or something, considering his promos are one of the most enjoyable parts of the show. So then they had Danielson's top 5 moments in ROH. Number 2 was when he was fighting Colt Cabana, and they went to a 60-minute match. And he separated his shoulders 6 minutes in. He says he loves Colt Cabana, has fun. Whatever, these segments aren't. They're not worthless because he's leaving, but they don't really do anything. So then we had Grizzly Redwood and Necro Butcher versus Prince Nana and what's his face, Joey Ryan. And let me just mention, Joey Ryan's theme song here is classic. It just starts with "Who wants a mustache ride?" And that's just too awesome. And this is a beard versus beard match because Ernie Osiris if the Embassy side loses, Ernie Osiris gets his beard shaven, and if Redwood and Butcher lose, Redwood gets his beard shaven. Now, I was wondering why Osiris wasn't actually wrestling in this match, considering he's more of a wrestler than Nana is himself. Or if they're going to have Nana in there, why? Or if they're going to have someone else besides Osiris in there, why they didn't have Jimmy Rave there, or Claudio. It was a little weird. I mean, I know Osiris is running this gimmick where he pretends to be injured, but there's really no point to it. It didn't come from anywhere, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, the match was decent. There was some fun stuff, but I don't even remember it that well, so obviously couldn't have been that good. I thought Joey Ryan did a good job in here, though. And then afterwards, with the shaving of the beard, that was fun, but I thought it was a little annoying that they cut it short because they had to go to commercial or whatever. I would have liked to see Ernie Osiris clean shaven there. Then they had another of Danielson's top 5 moments, which is clearly number 1. And it was a match versus Kenta. He said his girlfriend was in the crowd, and that he had just returned from the separated shoulder from the Cabana match, and that Kenta was pretty much kicking the shit out of the shoulder. And it seemed sick. It made me want to order that DVD. Definitely big time want to get that. So it was pretty good. Then they had a Kenny King promo, which I thought was very good. He was saying that, I mean, his promos tend to be very typical, like, they tend to go in the direction of, like, cocky rapper type promos. I don't know. I guess that's how I think of it in my mind, like, douchebag 50 Cent, like what he would say if he was a wrestler. But they can get very typical, very repetitive. But I thought this one was very good because he was talking about how athletic he was and saying, really, who else in the locker room could do that? And it makes you think, like, not really that many. And they showed clips of him doing stuff. So I thought that was very good because they didn't just have him come out to the ring and talk. It was edited well. So good high marks for that. Then we had Skull Crusher Rasche Brown versus Darren Matthews. Now, one funny thing, Mike Hogwood, that idiot, kept calling Darren Matthews Cameron Matthews throughout the whole match. Good job at knowing your jobbers, Mike. Anyway, Rasche Brown fails to impress me again. He did one sick shoulder block, and I think it was mostly made sick because the jobber here bumped to it very well. That got a big reaction from the crowd, believe it or not. They started cheering him afterwards. Oh, and speaking of that, the crowd were practically dead the whole night until the main event and this shoulder barge. But so that was, I mean, it was a good squash, but it doesn't help at all. We've seen so many big men come and go. So many of them just get introduced with an undefeated streak with squash matches and then do nothing. And I fear that he won't be able to wrestle good matches when he starts facing real opponents. Then we went directly to the main event, Bryan Danielson versus Roderick Strong, and the fans finally were hot for this. Danielson versus Strong wrestled an awesome match. I mean, Danielson wrestles an awesome match with pretty much anybody. Definitely a lot of fun with some of the counters that happened during the match. Some of the submissions they put on here were really, really superb. I would just say go out and watch it, although spoiler alert here. Well, not really spoiler considering it was taped 2 months ago, but I was a little surprised that Roderick Strong came out with the victory. I know they want to make him look strong, but I was pretty sure that they would kind of let Danielson go out on a high note. Then all the wrestlers came out to the ring and thanked him, and Strong cut an emotional promo, which he's not good at cutting promos, but this is fine. I mean, I have no problems with this. Saying that he thanks Bryan, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, a very poor show besides the main event. Not much that I enjoyed here. The main event was awesome, though, but the rest was kind of bad, and the crowd being dead didn't help, although maybe they were dead because of the action. I want Kenny Omega to come back from his Japanese tour because he really helps the show, and Eric Stevens hasn't been around in a while. Neither have the Dark City Fight Club. Just saying. So anyway, hopefully next week's edition is better. I'll have to give this one a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't very good, but I'll see you guys.